What's going on, guys? Hope everybody's having a great day. I am not alone today. I am joined by a master of Raid Shadow Legends, Kruysen. Welcome to the channel. How are you doing? Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me here, brother. It's always a pleasure to talk about what we love.
Definitely, man. So today, guys, you are in for a treat. We're going to be talking about the variable sets, and the variable sets are very, very powerful. If you've been playing Raid Shadow Legends for a while, you understand how important gear is. And if you haven't been playing that long, after this video, you are going to understand how powerful the gear is. Even powerful than champions sometimes. Sometimes champions can make the difference, but guess what? The gear is always going to make the difference. So we have a few variable sets in the game at this time. We have protection, we have stone skin, we have Supersonic, Merciless, Slayer, Feral, and Pinpoint. And I brought an expert because Kruysen is an expert. He's literally an expert at Raid. I feel like there's nobody better to talk to about these sets and the implementation of these sets and how they can actually help you to progress your account, to do better in live arena, classic arena, tag team arena, to do better and, you know, PvE content as well with the utilization of these sets. So Kruysen, first question I have for you, bro. Are you building more champs in these sets now as opposed to like the other sets? I know there are a few of the other sets that, like, you know, might not really go away, like Savage, like Lethal, you know, Relentless, or you know, sets like that. But are you generally building champions in these sets now?
I am, but not as much as I wish I could, because they are usually hard to get. Even more the last ones, Pinpoint, Pharaoh, and Slayer. You don't farm them consistently, and not every day. So to have a good piece, and depending on which stage of the game you are, to have a piece that fits your stage in the game, it's hard. For example, if you're very, very high in arena or things like that, you don't want a double row in speed. You want a triple row, quad row, penta row, or something like that. And the amount of pieces we need to farm to get one of them, I am not that lucky.
Yeah, I'm not either. I actually have 2 Pinpoint quad speeds at the moment. 2.
Oh my god.
I think I have 2 at the moment. But yeah, you have to be lucky to get this consistent. And I haven't even rolled all of my Pinpoint yet. I haven't deleted anything here because we don't know when we're gonna get an opportunity to farm it again. But you know, those are the rarer sides. The 2 that are easiest to attain are protection and stone skin, though. You're using stone skin quite a bit, I would imagine.
On arena, almost every champion.
Yeah.
Almost every champion. From support to nukers, everybody's using stone skin. Unless you're in the very, 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 very top, that are 20 players or less, that you have so extreme stats that you don't even put stone skin anymore. But that's very rare. And you don't use stone skin to use another one of these sets, like Merciless, like Supersonic, like Protection, like Pinpoint. So you're just swapping between these sets because they are the meta.
Yeah, definitely. So what do we look for in a champion, right? So obviously these sets perform different things, right? So protection gives you protected buffs, and that 9 piece gives you a boost of damage. Stone skin pretty much is straightforward. At 9 piece, just more stone skin. Supersonic, though, once we get to these sets down here, what they bring as a variable set is a bit more in depth. So let's, I guess, start with Supersonic. What do we look for in a champion before we say I need Supersonic on that champion?
If you're talking about arena, you basically gonna look for 4 pieces of Supersonic because it's the effect that is easier to get and is the most effective one out of the 3 special effects, the 4, the 6, and the 9 pieces. All of them are good effects, but the 4 pieces is the only one that is really worth to put 4 pieces in the champion form. You can even put 5 to get the extra speed if you can, but sometimes you try to combo it with another set. So you're gonna have 4 pieces of one, 4 pieces of other. You only have 1 missing piece to get it a very good piece of Supersonic is a little bit rare. So this set is a fever in the top of the arena because we're living the speed meta, and a set that can mess up the speed balance that your enemy is trying to put, or the speed vantage. It's something really interesting because you can win battles just messing the speed of your enemy, cutting in front of their speed tuning and things like that. So Supersonic on your fastest champions with some CC on them, or the ability to cut and boost your team, is a strategy that many players should apply if they are not using a red. For example, if you have a Stone Skin Supersonic Armans or Stone Skin Supersonic Warlord, a Stone Skin Supersonic Galatier, champions that can cut through your enemy line of speed and disable them somehow, is the top of the meta. And the number of battles that you're gonna win doing that, oh my god, I can't even describe.
Yeah.
It was 6 months ago that I used my Warlord for the last time. Then I put Supersonic on him and I'm picking him every battle now.
And it makes sense what you say about the 4-piece being the most beneficial. The more that you try to go for, the more niche it becomes. Because like at 9-piece, now you're looking to have a champion that actually has turn meter effects, like boosting turn meter or decreasing turn meter. So at 9-piece, the effects become minimal because the amount of champions you could actually use it on is actually minimized. So that's actually a really good shout and something that people should consider.
Yeah, and there is another factor. To get 9 pieces, you're gonna sacrifice a lot, because to get 9 very good pieces, it's very difficult. Even more with the accessories and things like that. So it's a lot harder to have 9 pieces and maintain a certain amount of stats that you need on some champions. So 4 is the ideal, 5 is really good. If you can, because you have you keep the spaces to use another powerful set if you want. Like for example, you can use Pharaoh and Supersonic. You can use Stone Skin and Supersonic. That is the best combo available right now, and it makes total difference. Even nukers are being built in Supersonic nowadays. Nukers like Marius that you can put Savage or Lito and Supersonic, and you benefits a lot from he going faster than some other nukers because of he can strip some of the buffs from the enemy team.
Yeah.
So Supersonic is a fever, and you should use it if you don't.
And Marius is a great shout because everybody has an opportunity to get him. And guys, I know we are talking about a lot of things dealing with PvP, but if you are implementing these things and you have really strong PvP champions, they're going to be effective for you in PvE content as well. So like he was saying about Marius, put in 4 bits here on Marius. You have a really strong Marius build, and you're going to put him in possibly an ignore defense set or something else as well. That build is still going to be very strong for you for PvE as well. So let's actually talk about some more champions, bro, that you're looking to put these sets on to make a difference for you.
Definitely these champions that can do some kind of disable skills between the line of speed of your opponent, like Armand, like Warlord, like Galatier, like Yumeko or Krixia, or champions like that has disable effects. It can be even Odin, a champion that many people got for the events. You can cut between the lines of speed on your opponent and do a massive disable on their strategy. There is also the champions that you want to play against when you're using this kind of sets. For example, if you're going to put a Warlord in Supersonic, you pray for your opponent pick a Siphi. Because if you only will boost 10% of the turn meter from her team, and she will boost Warlords by a lot because she's putting 3 buffs in every champion. So it's 2% for each one of them. So Warlord's going to get a massive boost on his turn meter, while Sif is only boosting 10% of her team's turn meter. So the probability of you could cut through the lines of speed and get your Warlord to disable, your Yumeko to disable, or anything like that is very high, unless the difference of speed is massively high. between your team and your enemy team, but you can do it. It's a possibility to face faster enemies using this strategy, and you don't even need crazy good pieces. You just need a speed boot, 2 accessories, and 1 good piece from Supersonic. Then you have your 4 pieces. Anything, a speed boots, and a good piece of any other 6 missing pieces.
Mm-hmm.
It's something achievable for most of the players.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. Just to put emphasis on how powerful these sets are, like I made a video where I was like rolling all of my pinpoint, well, a good bit of it after running, a ton CVC right before it was finished. And dude, I'm reworking. I'm using Chaos Ore on like every piece that I can, right? And I'm doing the same for these variable sets, guys. Like if I can re-roll a piece, if it rolls a triple on it or something or better, I'm going to re-roll it. I'm saving all my Chaos Ores for like these variable sets and these limited time sets because it just gives you another opportunity to get a good piece. The percentage that you will get a piece of that caliber to drop again, a legendary piece or a mythical piece or even just a 6-star epic piece is rare. So you might as well re-roll as many as possible, which is why like these variable sets, I have a very hard time selling the accessories. Now we're getting a lot of them now, but we weren't getting as many before. And obviously when it comes to Supersonic and Merciless, we're still getting them at the rate that we were. So save as many as you can. Even if the piece is not that good, it can come into a build with a few other pieces that are better and still give you a decent build that could be useful.
Play it safe. Keep 2 pieces of ring, 2 pieces of necklace, 2 pieces of banner from each faction. Then you start to filter properly.
Mm-hmm.
But at least keep 2 of them. So you're gonna have at least guaranteed that you can have 1 piece of each kind of type of piece you can. So you can play around if it's needed. And about the ores, like you said, in fact, all the ores that I use, if they are not on speed sets, because usually is where you spend most of your ores trying to get quad rows, penta rows, triple rows, and things like that, it's on special sets like Supersonic, like Pinpoint, like Merciless, and they are everything that you want to get a good piece right now.
Yeah, and I was looking at this piece that's actually decent here that I'm not using, and I need to equip it. It's a triple roll with accuracy. Let's put it.
Yeah,
put
that
it
could
on
be
him.
on your lord.
It was on some. I think I took it off my Airbus. It was on Airbus at first, and I just rebuilt her as well. So if you missed it, guys, or you clocked out for a minute, you want to be looking for champions that are going to make a difference for you in PvP content, champions that will cut in and either strip or they'll be able to stun or control or change the fight in your into your favor. So these are the champions we're looking to put 4 pieces of Supersonic on. But very powerful set. I've definitely noticed a difference. I put it on, this is my second Warlord as well as Armand's, and I just have them in a go second team with a UDK and a Wukong for Tag Team Arena. And like I just use that team against teams with heavy buffers. I let them go first. I let them do whatever they're gonna do, and then from there I take over the fight. So it's very easy to use in like classic arena or tag team arena.
Exactly.
Obviously, live arena, there's so many other things that come into factor because that champion could get banned. They could have significantly faster champions than you. So many things that could come into play. But if you're trying to progress in like tag team arena, classic arena should be easy for majority of people. But tag team arena, having 3 reliable teams or at least 2 teams that will guarantee always get you a win. This was something that pretty much was a game changer for me.
Yeah, the most effective advice that I always give related to tag team arena is never go into a speed race.
Yeah.
The probability that you lose because you lose the speed battle is high. So avoid all the speed battles that you can. And a go second team with Supersonic is a very good way to face these teams that seems like fast.
Yeah.
Because you already know that they are going to play based on their speed. So you can play knowing that they are going to be fast, but you have the chance to cut them and mess everything they planned into doing.
Yeah.
That's the best way to use this set, and believe me, this is one of the most wanted sets.
Yeah.
Right now for everybody that loves arena.
Definitely. So Supersonic, obviously very, very powerful. But Merciless, man. Do you think Merciless is just the best set in the game overall right now? Or
I think
Stone Skin is obviously potentially the most powerful, but
I don't think because if I would to choose a set between all the sets that is the most powerful set in the game, it would be or Merciless or Speed. Because Stone Skin is definitely one of the strongest, if not the strongest, on Arena. But he lacks in utility in most of the PvE content,
yeah.
different from Merciless. Merciless is as strong or even more strong or stronger in the PvE scenario than he's on the PvP. Or in both, he's extremely powerful. So you can say he contemplates both worlds instead of only one area of the game. He you can have it 9 merciless pieces on your best arena nuker, on your best hydra nuker, your best dungeon nuker, whatever you want to play him. Very strong. You put this set and he will be amazing.
Mm-hmm.
He will be definitely amazing. So I think these kind of sets that are useful in many areas of the game are stronger in general than a specific one.
Definitely, I agree. Because, like you said, Stone Skin doesn't have too many applications in PvE content. There's very few. Like I know people were using Stone Skin on like God Seeker for Sand Devil for that
Shogun,
one
Sandavo,
comp.
you have some comps using, but you don't necessarily need to.
Right.
Shogun you might. In
Mm-hmm.
Shogun you might. If you're not very end game and you're going to kill it in 5 seconds or something like that, you might
Mm-hmm.
use strategies around it. The same for Sun Devil, unless you got Sifi or any sleep strategy that you're gonna fast kill it.
Mm-hmm.
But in the other dungeons, you barely use it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to use Merciless in any of your nukers, even the supports, because this set is crazy good on supports on the
Yeah.
PV content, even more if you're doing Hydra.
And that's
So
something I don't think a lot of people consider. Because
yeah,
when we think about Merciless, we think about damage dealers, right? And we think about the ignored defense. So much so that we forget about what it does at 4 pieces. Because I did this myself. I wasn't thinking about it either. I wasn't thinking about the 30% chance to decrease a random skill
yeah,
cooldown, when dealing damage. This wasn't something I was
and the
thinking
extra
about
turn,
myself. Yeah,
and the
exactly.
extra turn.
Yeah.
Do you remember that after in the start of the recording session that we are having right now, we are talking about your mythicals? And
Yes.
you said you had your Mikagi on a Hydra build, and I saw her. She was in protection. I think she's on the back on the screen. She's
Yes.
in 9 pieces of protection. Do you ever try to use her in 9 pieces of merciless?
No, I don't even
Be-
think I have 9 pieces of Merciless to put on her.
yeah, right now on Hydra, we had a nerf on the ally attacks, but if ally attack was working correctly, Mikagi can do massive damage with her A1, and she can rotate very fast with the extra turn and the reflex proc of the 9 piece of Merciless. So she can be as much as a damage dealer as she can do all she does more times that she usually does. That's a really good set for her on Hydra before the nerf.
Mm-hmm.
On the nerf, with the nerf now, we need to adapt a little bit the strategies around ally attack. Before that, Merciless was crazy, and you can use that, apply that strategy in other areas of the PvE content if you use teams based on ally attack. For example, Fire Knight.
Definitely, because you want to get back around to that ally attack as fast as possible. A lot of people using ally attack for Shogun as well. It's a very safe comp to use.
Yeah, and if you do a lot of damage, you help your team to clear the waves faster, the boss faster, everything faster.
Mm-hmm.
And Mikagi can deal insane damages with her A1. I didn't believe when I was farmed by A1 Mikagi on Live Arena.
Wait, what? Her A1
Yes, I
multiplier
was
is that
playing on Dog's
good?
account. I was playing on Dog's account and I was farmed by a A1 Mikagi.
So there you heard it, guys. Once you have your Mikage, make sure you build her in 9 piece Merciless.
Oh, it's a viable option. There is another viable option that's 4 pieces of Merciless and 4 pieces of Reflex if you don't
Mm.
have the 9 pieces.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're gonna have the chance of refreshing the ability from both sets.
Mm-hmm.
So you can cycle very fast through her abilities. And you can play the increased duration, decreased duration of the A2 or the ally attack and buffs from the A3. really fast, really fast, really fast. And that's really good for some comps that needs to cycle fast to deal damage.
This one is interesting because we look. You can pretty much put Merciless on almost any champion in the game, and it'd be beneficial. I would just from me thinking, I'm like, all right, maybe the only person I wouldn't put it on is someone who's solely a turn meter booster and they don't really do much else. But it almost applies to every other type of champion in the game.
That's how powerful it is.
Yeah.
That's how powerful, how core it is right now. You want to have as many pieces of Merciless as you can, and you should only keep the full damage pieces. A piece with high speed and some accuracy can be useful to a support strategy like that. On the PV content, on Hydra content and things like that, you can cycle faster through your abilities. For example, you use a Balanor on the Hydra to use decreased defense and weaken, and you don't have champions to reset your skills. You can use him on 5 pieces of Merciless and 4 pieces of Merciless and 4 pieces of Reflex, and you're gonna have him doing damage and cycling to the A2 as fast as he can, and that's gonna grant you a lot more damage.
Yeah.
You're gonna have the A2 every 2 turns instead of 3, and almost every time. So the amount of damage, you're never gonna to lose the decreased defense and weaken.
Yeah.
Your damage overall increases a lot.
That's why I think it's just the most powerful set in the game because the versatility, it benefits everyone.
He's my favorite,
Yeah.
definitely. He's my favorite, and my favorite champion that a Lego champion that's Rotos.
Oh,
It's like this set was made for the champion.
yeah, man. I wish I could get better Merciless on my Rotos. It's
You
not
don't
very good.
you don't even need good pieces. You just need 9 pieces.
That's what I'm scared of. It's hard for me to replace like the gear that's the issue I'm having. And you mentioned it in the video you did with Ash. You said like take the stat cut. You might lose some stats, but get these champions in these sets. And I was looking at my pieces and I'm like, oh man, these are quad rolls. I'm not trying to lose all of those stats from these quad rolls with max glyphs that I have. And
Bro,
I started, but I haven't fully gave in yet. Like I switched my Siphi into protection. We lost a good bit of speed, and I was like, I could put a protection banner on her, but I was like, nah, I don't want to lose 38 speed. And then I got
insane.
I got this protection roll, and I was like, oh, maybe I can finally get her in. Where is it at? I think I just equipped it on someone. I was rolling the protection. I think I put it on Annie. I think I re-rolled this. But like I got a triple, and I was like, oh, we can maybe put this piece on Siphi, get onto 9 piece. It's still, we're losing 13 speed. So I'm like, all right, how much more speed do I want to lose? And then I started rebuilding Rotos and Merciless, and then I'm like, oh my God, we got this quad attack on HP banner. I'm like, oh my God, I can't replace this. Then the ring.
You need to figure out in which scenario you are. For example, how fast is your Siphi? I didn't saw.
Before I switched it, or after?
Yeah.
Before
no,
she. Oh, right now, she's 404 speed.
So you need to think. 404 speed or 410, 20 is enough to win the speed battles in the level I am. If it's not enough, if you can't guarantee you're fast enough to win half of them or more than half of them, you can afford to lose some to get an effect that might save you if you win the speed battle. You know? So, for example, to have 9 pieces of protection on her and lose 13 speed, if you're not going to win the speed battle every time, and winning the speed battle, that's going to make the difference. That's another thing right now. So, you might get her in 9 pieces of protection and get half of your buffs protected, 75% of them, and guarantee that if the guy is using our Armands with Supersonic and he cuts through you, he won't remove your block buffs that are protected, and you won the speed battle, but you are cutted. And what are you going to do if he removes everything, and you're going to be disabled on your champion? So you might consider these situations. Having this extremely high stats, it's enough to make the role she was going to do? Or I need something else, a little bit of RNG, a little bit of extra utility or something like that. That's what you have to figure out. For Sifi right now, I don't think she's a decent speed booster unless you're crazy fast on all your champions.
Right.
Because 10% is not enough.
It's not enough. Yeah.
So I prefer to have her tankier or doing some other things besides boosting. That's why the 9 protection is so useful. So in touch for her, that you might consider to do that, and you might use this banner on another champion that's useful with extremely high in
Mm-hmm.
stats that you might need. It's something that you need to check the consistency of your teams and know, does it apply to me or not apply to me.
Mm-hmm.
She's my best champion, the fastest champion. I prefer to try to win the speed races every time, and that's working for me. I'm winning the speed races, and my team is following up, and I'm winning. Or I'm winning the speed race and getting cutted and losing either way.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's the question.
Right, right. I've answered most of that. And another thing that I've done is I've also built another speed booster that is better. So Airbus. So I'm using Airbus a ton now as like a primary speed booster. Even not picking Siffy all the time in live arena because my warlord is around that same speed as well. So I'm
Yeah,
using with Odin, like I'm not missing the 10% from Siffy as much. But before I invested in Airbus, Siffy was like my only hope. I didn't really have much else. So
yeah,
I'm moving towards that because I'm noticing how having the protected buffs has, it's been a game changer for me, right?
yeah.
Uh in so many places.
Tiffy has been the core speed booster for so long that most of the players are attached to her as the fastest champion on the account because you invested on her 6-star soul or in her banner or something like that. And you don't have the trust in the speed boost of another champion.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, Tiffy is outdated compared to some other speed boosters like Arbaz that has a 30% speed boost, Lazaris that has 20% speed boost and 20% negative speed boost to your opponent,
Mm-hmm.
decrease 10 meter. And even Arbiter or Shuzan. Shuzan's the top core right
Mm-hmm.
now. So they are most impactful into speed boosting because of the amount of turn meter they got.
Mm-hmm.
So if you win the speed battle, you want that amount of turn meter to be decent and enough to make your other champions play. Sifi is not doing that anymore, even more because of Supersonic right now.
Definitely.
So Sifi is boosting more the enemy team than she's boosting your team. And that's the fact. That's the fact. I get happy when my enemy picks Sifi because I say, okay, I don't want to ban her. I want him to keep her.
Mm-hmm.
And I will play around her because she will bust me instead of bust him.
Yeah. So obviously, protection on someone who places block debuffs very strong. Supersonic, we said who to use that on, and Merciless, you can pretty much use on a range of champions.
Every
DPS,
new
CC, so many champions that you can use these sets on. Now there are a few other variable sets as well, but we're gonna talk about that on Kruysen's channel because this video is getting very long and I don't want to keep all of you here to myself. So if you want more information about the rest of the sets, make sure that you go and watch the collab on his channel, guys. Make sure you subscribe to him if you haven't either, and like whatever videos he has because they are all amazing. Kruysen, I want to say thank you again for coming on the channel, bro. Is there anything that you want to say to the people before we head out?
Just one thing. It's all about arena.
Ha ha ha. Yo, say it again for him.
It's all about arena.
Exactly, guys. So thank you for watching. As always, be sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave us a comment down below. Let us know the champions that you're using these sets on. And until next time, guys, be good and be well.